All right, I think we covered enough on the front stage of how Shedmate operates in terms of providing the value to the customer and sharing links, creating documents that will create that feeling that the customer is like, this company understands me. They gave me what I needed. They discussed about my shed. They showed me real time how my shed is going to look like. They showed me project variations. They showed me many different design options, and all of that in real time in the first meeting. That's awesome. I really like these guys. But now I want to show you how you as a business can actually implement a similar system as we have here in a way that doesn't take so long. So if I close here and actually open instant quoting, now we entering here in that behind the scenes. And by the way, not every Shedmate user has access to this. Some companies, they have this only for their managers. That's where they manage their pricing. You as a salesperson just see the front page, which is great. You don't need to worry about all of this. They do that for you. Some other customers, they're smaller. They have a small team and they have access to everything. So if you go to instant quoting, you're probably going to see something similar to this. We have here our pricing database. We have our pricing calculations. And inside our pricing calculation, we have our groups. And in the groups, we can define the base price, the markup value for each of those groups, taxes, any discount, and the total price. So this is what forms the $75,000 that we're seeing in that specific shed. So if we're kind of reverse engineering that pricing, this is how it would look like. We have the $75,000 price. That's the sum of all of those specific groups. That might include shed materials, admin costs, erection, council fees, delivery, and all of those groups here, they can be modified. You can create new groups, you can remove groups, you can do really whatever you want here. All of these items, they have a specific markup that could be a fixed price, as we have here variable, or I could just unlink this and say, look, my markup here is 15%. And then you can see here that the base price of all your shed materials is $27.3. Your markup is $4,000. You have 3.1 in taxes, and then the whole value is 34.5. So this is the reverse engineering of that full price. Okay, now what's included in my shed materials, right? What's included in your shed materials is the sum of all of the pricing calculations. So the pricing calculations are just the formulas, the kind of replacement of your Excel spreadsheet that comes here and builds the intelligence that you need, so anyone else can use this system and you're going to be confident that's going to work. So for example, concrete for slabs, 32 MPa. So here I have a system that's looking in the model for everything that has the floors in my Shedmate, and I have a $311.85 per cubic meters, only applicable for 32 MPa, which is the concrete resistance. If you have another concrete that's 28 MPAs, that's going to be a different pricing. But then Shedmate is also, for this specific rule here, multiplying that by 1.1, just to have a little bit more of concrete if anything happens in the side. So I want to make sure that we are covered with a 10% increase. This could be 0.5, and you can see my pricing changing there, or it could be 1.1. Every company will be different here, okay? And then if I click on this little item here, Shedmate is actually going to highlight in the model for me where that concrete pricing is coming from. So where is that volume? And you're going to be surprised when you're testing Shedmate against other systems, specifically when you're testing against Excel. And I've done that so much because I was, fine-tuning the system. I was like, hey, look, I have this quotation. I want to make sure Shedmate is not missing anything. And then there were many times that Shedmate was giving me a value that was like, okay, that's wrong. That's not what I have calculated. And then when I actually looked and compared the model, I actually had made a mistake on my Excel, not on Shedmate. And I was like, so it was actually a little bit smarter than me. And the reason is data management. Shedmate integrates your pricing with the 3D model. So if the concrete slab is bigger now, it's going to update all of this automatically. And you don't need to see all of this. But if you want to inspect, if you want to have like some auditability on every single one of your sheds, you can. So when was the last time that you could open any project in your company and you could see how much you spend with concrete, or how much you spend with cladding, or how much you spend with bolts? So this is the clarity that Shedmates give you on an order, the most expensive all the way to the least expensive item in this specific shed pricing we're giving here, which is $2.8 related to the purling bolts for the roller doors. And once again, if I click on the items, it's going to highlight where that's actually coming from, or the main item that's associated with. Okay, So I'm going through here the kind of reverse engineering of this, and each one of those pricing calculations, they can vary a lot. So sometimes it's like a estimation that's a secondary item. In other words, secondary means that's not associated with a physical material. So for example, the concrete for slab is a primary item because there's a concrete there. So that's what I'm pricing. But the shed roof labor is not a physical material, but it's a secondary item that I'm going to calculate based on something. In this case, it's the roof. So here we have a quantification. That's $30 per square meter of roof for my labor. And that's what Shedmate is calculating for you. If you do something else, then we can set up this for you here as well. The system is extremely flexible. And here's a breakdown of how you can see every single one of those materials, so you can have clarity and ensure you're not doubling up, or the system is not faulty, or something that you actually created not missing any of those items that it was supposed to calculate. So when you bring the intelligence you have in the shed industry with a 3D model that's smart, and you put it all together with an engineering that's running automatically for that preliminary engineering purpose, you have an extremely powerful system that, once set up and tested, anyone in your business pretty much could use this with some confidence.